if it's not going to be sustainable, I don't want to hurry up and do it unless you. I want to lay the right foundation for us to build on. At the end of the day, if I'm the one that lays the foundation, someone else comes here and builds on it, or if I'm here to build as well, kind of like have been in Lake Charles for 8.5 years. We needed to build the right foundation out there for us to grow. We were doing great, then Mother Nature came around, and 4 natural disasters in 15 months kind of reset things. But that's still our approach going back. Could we have gone out and blitzed everything and not had the support in place for those units or those parents to have the right experience? Absolutely. But that's not what's in best interest for all of us. So we're just planting more seeds and expanding that way. So I know I've met with some of y'all one-on-one. I've met with some of y'all in small groups. I appreciate your input. I want your input. As many appointments and meetings. You're not going to find me at the office more than likely. I'm in 8 to 9 meetings on average a day. I start at like 7:30 in the morning, if not earlier, and sometimes I get home 9:30, 10, or sometimes some meetings are at home. Rob, we set an appointment. Stuff happened. I ended up in the hospital. First one, it was not my heart. It was still trying to figure out what it was. But I'm honest and full candor. That's what you're going to get from me. I'm 2-3 weeks out on planning appointments. So I do want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are, your concerns, your challenges, and then as we go into next year, we'll lay out what the plan is when it comes to recruiting, what our plan is when it comes to product sales, what our plan is when we go into these events and activities. And I agree, I don't want to have an event that has 30 to 50 kids. That's not a real pleasant experience for anybody when we know what it could be. So,
and the kids appreciate seeing other kids. Like if there's a whole bunch of kids there, they are jazzed
because then they get to see, wow, this is bigger than we thought. And I think I shared, growing up in Central Florida, we did scout shows, and there was 14 of them throughout the council, and that was, because there was like 100 people at each one, and then we unified them and brought them all together, and we had 25,000 people. We had 400 booths. You couldn't even get to every booth. In that experience. Now, by scale, that council's a lot larger than us right now, and even always has been. Well, not always, but but we can do stuff like that, like the camporee, like Cub Haunted, and make it a pleasant onboarding experience for the new families. So I appreciate all of y'all that have signed up, and we'll just move forward. But we'll do it together. We are building out in Geismar. This is where we're going to be serving, and my wife's going to get involved too. We just ideally resolve one thing before we move on to I feel like I have like 24 plates spinning on different posts and trying to keep it going. So, but again, call me, email me, text me, doesn't matter. If you don't hear back from me, then I probably didn't get your message, or Lord only knows what's going on. So ping me again. But if I don't know what challenges you have as a parent, as a unit leader, as a district leader, I can't do anything about it. So don't assume anything. We're under a lot of change at the office. Miss Amy's been out the last 2 days. She's in the hospital. So there's lots of challenges. We are going to be putting out a job posting. If you know anybody, I want a customer service person, a second person in the office to work with Margaret, because Amy has said she's retiring in December. If she doesn't have to, beforehand, I hope not. But to work with Margaret and help, with special events, be the assistant for that, to track, the spreadsheets and whatever. But I want someone that has honey on the tongue, because customer service is important to me. And if you don't understand what honey on the tongue means, then I only learned that in Georgia. Meaning that they actually listen and care, and even if it's not always the answer that they want. That's my mindset. That's who I am, and that I will not expect anything less than that coming from us at the service center. So, God bless Margaret. She has been taking a yeoman's effort. I had her put together kind of the responsibilities of the different things, and hers was like a page and a half, and it's like, okay, Amy does this, and then okay, I don't know what Jennifer did, so. we know that we'll have gaps. You always have that in transition, but again, just work with us. It's not intentional, and we are not perfect, but we do care and we do try our best. So, if that, are there any questions before we move on? I can take a couple. If not, I have my business card. I'll leave those here. You can grab them and reach out to me. Find me either way. But thank you all for all that you do. Hopefully we expand our numbers at all capacities and levels. What I have found in all my moves, that if we still do what we've been doing for over 100 years as an organization, a nominating committee that doesn't just involve scouters, but also people from the community, that's what's missing from our board. Mm-hmm. That's what's missing from our district committees, is having that balance of support so that we're not wearing so many hats. And like I've shared before, I've been Scoutmaster for 3 troops for the last 4 years. I get it. I've been a unit leader for at least 2 or 3 units for the last 19 years, on top of the other 90 hours a week. So I'm there with you. I can't explain it or share it or show it any differently. But we're in this together. I just need to know what your experiences are, what the gaps are, so we can address it. And at the end of the day, my goal is to provide a life-changing experience for all of our families, all of our kids. But it's not just about kids, because scouting changes the parents as well. Mm-hmm. It provides a different opportunity for them to engage with their kids. No matter how well-intentioned we are as parents, we're all too damn busy. And because it's a thing for them to check off to build something out of wood, we're going to spend those 2 hours hitting ourselves with a hammer. So, it's those things that I care about. So, all right. Thank you all very much.
All right, Bill. Thank you so much. We know you're in our corner.
Absolutely. Catch your 6.
But that brings up another topic that's kind of been hanging over me, is the fact that I have no finance chair, and I'd like to have anybody who thinks of anybody that can actually pull that off. I would love to hear y'all's opinion. You can hit me up at my email, jasonmorrill@gmail.com, my name at Gmail. I really like the board that I have. I really like everybody I'm working with. If you know me, I'm an easygoing guy. You do your job. I know we all get along. I mean, it's not a problem. There's no micromanagement or whatever, but I would love to have this board filled by January. So if anybody has any ideas or feels free, they want to come talk to me, I'm open to it as well. Let's get it done. Who wants to cover membership for Mr. Lappin?
I can talk. I don't know if he tell you anything.
No.
Yeah. Well, right now we 100 kids away from what it was last year. We still got probably about 8 units that still have to do some recruitment. Like Keith said, we don't work on 205. A lot of them we got to basically got to start over. So we're working on that. I think we'll get there. We'll have growth this year. Which I think last year we didn't have growth. But now we're on track to have growth in Sewell-Eagle. So we're gonna keep working on that. Biggest thing, me and Jason, we was talking about is the biggest thing now is getting the parents and leaders on board to strengthen the units. Because the ones that we're talking about now is not strong enough. We just was talking about. So we gotta get them strong enough to be able to, where the kids can see it's fun and they can learn. If we ain't strong enough, they're gonna end up dropping.
And that's why, the decision was made to do Camboree as a council event last year, because kids have more fun seeing other
Right.
kids. We're just there as support. That's all we are. I mean, but if kids see kids working, kids want to be there, kids want to take part in it, and kids talk. Especially with Cub events, they're going to go back. What did you do this weekend? I mean, in first grade, they're gonna talk about going camping. They're gonna talk about shooting BB guns. They're gonna talk about all the kids that were there, and that's what's gonna rile up the community to get behind it, get back in it, and do it. So.
But that's what we're going in, trying to help the ones, and it was good to hear about Troop 505. See, with 3 kids, you got to start over. So that's what we're working on to get the unit strong enough to keep moving forward. All right, we right there, like I said, 100 more kids get us back, and trying to get a focus in growth. So we got the opportunity.
It's a realistic goal, y'all. We can do this. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Alrighty. So we covered it. We're gonna go over our, we got our Cub Scout camp, the haunted weekend, the 27th to the 29th, Interfaith retreat, and once again, December 8th through the 10th. Winter camp, y'all sign up for winter camp. It's probably one of the best camps that I've been to for winter camp. It's run by, all your instructors and people sitting in this room. It's a really, really, really good time, and I would encourage y'all to reach out to your kids and your troops and talk to them about it. Just say, hey, look, winter camp is cool. It's great for us because it's wonderful weather, and it's just a great time. So encourage people to attend winter camp. And then wood badge, how we doing with wood badge there?
Yep,
Training
we have one signed up.
one. Okay, I think we talked about that the other
With
day.
winter camp sign up soon, price goes up November 15th, so.
Do we know how many, what are our numbers?
I haven't looked lately.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple come in recently.
Yeah.
I think there was one today.
Yeah, we got one from from Ponchatoula today.
Yes. Good, good, good. Okay. Old business, I just covered.
Yes, before you leave the activities, you don't have the Beaver Day.
Where is the Beaver Day?
First weekend of November, November 4th.
November 4th, Beaver Day for OA. Everybody hear that?
Workday up at Avondale. I'm working on the Streamer Trail, so it's conservation hours and all lunches included for the troops that come up to help, or packs, or anybody who's registered within Scouts can come.
Oh, so it's everybody. It's
Everybody.
not just not troops. It's not just OA.
Anybody who wants to come help can come help.
OA is going to provide your organization and food.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody invited. What time?
9 a.m. to 4, I believe.
9 to 4. Okay. And then it's just going to be a day of this.
Yeah, it's just that. However, Mr. EJ normally allows, if there's troops who go up there for the weekend, he normally allows them to camp for free if they go to Beaver Day. So
Wow. That's
you gotta send him an email, but he's normally pretty ecstatic if the troops camp.
Did we have that in the newsletter?
I seem to
thought it was in
remember
the
seeing it. I
newsletter.
think it's in there.
I know I've seen it on Facebook.
Do we need to bring tools or bring anything
I'm not
to
sure
help?
about that. That would be a lodge question,
Okay.
because they're the ones who are running the event, since it's a council event. So
I think I expressed when you came tonight that I'm very happy to have OA present at this meeting, and I'd like to continue having somebody come up here from OA, because there's a lot of opportunities with OA that, if you're not in OA, you don't know about it, but how are you gonna want to attract other children who are in troops, who are first class, and then 20 nights camping to join them?
yeah.
And so you come in here and talking about the events and what you're doing with OA, it just plasters on the wall there. Good deal, buddy. Anything else?
Well, we've had a bunch of elections this month, so we visited quite a few troops. So I kind of got to see a lot of faces, make new connections. So we went and visited 53 in Port Island, and they're doing good. Because I know they were a troop that for a while were kind of hanging in there, but they're doing better. We hit a couple of the bigger troops, like my troop and 136, and so those are our troops that we normally do elections with in the fall, and then we're also trying to get out to the troops that we don't have any people from.
Yeah, I've got a hole in mind where everybody is first class, but they don't have 20 nights camping.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
But Mr. Robert Reed is in charge of elections for the lodge. So if there's any troops who are interested in doing an election, they can get in touch with him. And I believe his contact information is pretty well spread.
Yeah.
Because it's important for him to get to know the troops and get elections scheduled. So
Ordeal's in December.
yeah, ordeal is the first weekend of December, and
So
that's
you want to
only
have your election. You want to have your election.
Yeah.
At least a few weeks before that, if you want the boys to go, or
yeah.
your people to get to that.
And winter ordeal is always the best one. So because the weather's great, we
Winter
normally have the
ordeal
best
is the
turnout, and we always have good food, and it's a lot of fun. So
Good deal. Old business. Our old business is open positions, which I touched upon. And then multiple recruited scouts refund. Do we remember this? We'll revisit this.
I mean, we can't, I know Sewell-Eagle hadn't turned in any, if a family recruits, you know, we recruit them and they have 3 kids, we gonna take care of the third one, and they have to send in a request.
We've had one. I mean, it's not, again, it's not a typical thing that.
Right, it's not a
Right,
typical
it's not
thing, but we still want to make
Right.
sure that,
Right.
you know, we're trying, I mean, that we're at least
But I
covered.
thought we had one, Rob, was it someone here before said they recruited 3, I mean,
Oh, that was,
it was somebody, but they,
I'm sorry, Kayla's giving me a date for a court order.
I thought last, I don't know what meeting it was, but had someone here said that
they had
there was
4.
a family of 4, but
I had,
she didn't send nothing
I had a
in.
family of 4 that was recruited prior to August 1st. And you said they weren't gonna be eligible because they were prior to August
Oh, yeah,
1st.
that starts August 1st, yeah, it had to be August 1st.
So
Okay.
I do have.
But I don't know what hers was, but I
That
know
was-
she
that was my
talked
unit.
about it, it's a family of 4,
Yeah,
so
that was my unit,
I don't know what unit that was.
226.
Oh, 226?
Yeah, I don't know if they've been back since they came visit us, then they kind of
Okay.
disappeared, and
Okay.
I don't know if that's the family that had to move or quit or whatever it was. So
Right.
it may not even be an issue anymore.
Okay,
But, you know, we send in a request and we'll take care of it.
all right.
All of them.
Popcorn sales.
Right now, that, all the show and sale, everyone picked up everything. We had 3 units come back, get more. Nope. Michael, they rocking it. You know, we have, popcorn at the office. So if you run out, we got more.
We got more.
We got more. And push the take order sales. If you also know, a company or anyone wanna do a big order for corporate sales, you know, let us know. You know, we got a lot of popcorn, we can get more. But the office is full, so if you come here, you'll see popcorn. So we gotta get rid of it, so.
And then, district budget, I think we talked
The
about.
biggest thing we're talking about, you know, is trying to combine, you know, make council events, so.
Right,
we're
make
gonna
council
work
events,
on-
but
We're gonna work on that.
we're gonna work
So,
on that
right.
coming up. All right, y'all, take 5. We'll let, Mr. Keith organize his mind about his roundtable this evening. Thank you.
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes. I know sound check.
Yes. Has he opened up a little bit?
Yeah, he's been a lot
He's a
of.
visitor interview, was very, very quiet.
Yeah, he was very quiet at the beginning, but we got him.
Got
pretty
him
excited.
into the
Yeah.
fold.
Yeah, he lightened up because the week after we joined, we went on our shooting sports camp out.
Whoa,
And he got
yeah.
to do shotgun and rifle and all that.
Well, thanks for coming back.
And we got all his records transferred, so he's cool. I like him.
Yeah, I was in email
just
correspondence with
doing
his
this
mom
because
Yeah.
before they
my
moved, because he didn't go to Sherwood School.
Yeah.
Very close to troop to Sherwoodville.
Yeah.
And, he had attended scouts at Sherwoodville. I see him here, Cub Scouts at Sherwoodville. But they were either younger or older.
Yeah. Well, he went to film camp with two of our scouts.
Oh.
And that's how they met. And they were talking about going on to summer camp. He's like, oh, I was a scout. This is it. And then he came to our meeting. It must have been early August. And then he's been with us like he was really quiet at the beginning, but he's one of our regulars now.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's kind of getting the adults.
His mom seems like she.
Yeah, I really like his mom. I got a question for you. So we got a new crossover bridge built. Oh
yeah.
We have an old one.
Yeah.
We got a new bridge. So I'm trying to find a troop or a pack that does crossover bridge.
I'm glad you did.
It's just a matter of, I assume we got a place to store it.
No, we don't.
Well, I was gonna tell you, I just got off the phone with him as I was pulling up. Giving him an update on stuff. Like that. So he's giving me an update on that. It's getting ready to go to the board of trustees. Once it's done, then I'll sign all of it, and we got it. So expect their call.
Cool.
Pack has 33 people going to. That's adults.
Reform recently.
Yeah, so that's what they asked me. I knew y'all were, I might need a bridge. So I can get y'all a bridge.
Excellent.
It's just sitting in our storage building. So
We just need a place to play for.
yeah, so
Storage facilities. I mean, we don't have any order there, Arrow like eligible kids yet. They're mostly tigers and stuff like that. But it's
Got a plan.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will tell you this, from my experience, when I ran Pack 228, when I did the crossover ceremony and I let kids shoot a flaming arrow, I had 100% retention. Because they saw that and they wanted to do it. And that was enough to get them to stay. And it was just a matter of like sparkling on an arrow and letting them go launch it into a tiger or a rydell or whatever. So incorporate that into your, during the couple event, you know, do that. Well, yeah.
it was whenever. It's just right now it's in our storage building. We're trying to clean all of it.
Yeah,
But we got a new one built where it has a key where the scout is long. The old one doesn't. The old one's just a wooden bridge with like 3 steps and a bridge slide straight down. But the new one that we built got that. We got it built last summer. We used it once a year, but now we're not going to get it. But whenever y'all have a place to put it, I don't mind it about the but we have a place where it's like a warehouse that the church has where they keep a bunch of different things. So we have a part of the warehouse where we can put our trailer inside, and then we have shelves. And then we have shelves, and then the other side is got like floor space. And we're just taking up half the floor space. So we want to get rid of it because we have a canoe that we're going to mount to the wall where the bridge is. So
there's storage system that actually.
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
We were working.
So you can, basically you got a garage, drive your car in under it, and load it.
Yeah, we've had that canoe for 2 years. So it was some dude at the church was like, hey, I'm retiring, I'm downsizing, you don't want a canoe? I'm like, yeah, we'll take a canoe. So,
I get those calls, good, Alex.
yeah, but it's only one, so we can't do
One
it.
question for you.
Yeah,
I've got 33, back 78, I got 33 people coming. Adults, youth, and siblings. They've never been on a group camp out
It's
before.
amazing how much.
What do you think? Guess on the topic?
Yeah, we got a lot.
Well, you know what's really interesting? I shot an email out on Sunday telling them it would be in their best interest to be here tonight.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that specific.
You may be covering this tonight. They were kind of curious about who I need to talk to about the camps that they have the adults that have.
Yeah, we got a bunch.
Bring all these up, let's just take discussion, this is not a lecture.
Okay. Because I reached out to them.
So, Mike actually brought up, he said, I got a couple of questions for you, and which is 100%.
I'll leave you to your topic.
I mean, it's like mind reading, I get it right every now and then. So, thank you for giving me this one. Maybe I would have, lottery's up to 1.6 billion, maybe I would have loved that. But, I'll take it wherever I can get it. So we came upon this realization just and this is not this specific, but just Roundtable in general, that, our numbers for people showing up is way better than it has been for many years. The next thing we have learned is since we picked these up, late summer and fall, so this will be our third one, and we started recording and live streaming. The live streaming, not a whole lot of people. I think the people who want to catch it live are here, which is awesome. But we have 3 times this number of people watching the recording later. So once we saw it, it's like, okay, we can do these things a little differently now, understanding that there's value after the fact of topics we talk about, somebody can learn from later. So, okay, great. That's a new way to look at Roundtable. So that's great. We don't necessarily have to force people to be here. It's, hey, go look at it later. We talked about something that might interest you. We answered some questions. Next step will be, okay, how can we solicit questions in advance that could be something we could talk about next Roundtable. And so just try to catch people in every way possible. So again, we want to invite people, that's one way, great. If they can't make it, no problem at all, catch the recording. We've got it there, then we start getting into, okay, now feed us some answers. And we'll probably send out a couple of little quick survey things just for really simple, hey, you got a question you want answered? Topic you want discussed, encourage that from people in the units. If you hear of something, exactly what Mike brought up, let's, bring them up and we'll do our best. We can, this lives past this 45 minutes that it is. So that gives us an opportunity to cover a lot of bases and go back and look at it. So the topic we thought that made a lot of sense for this particular month is around Cub Scouts. And a lot of us are closer to Boy Scouts than Cub Scouts, but we've got the experience. So what is important for us to teach this month? Well, first of all, we've just done recruiting, right? So we've got a bunch of new scouts and parents who've just come in, have no idea what to do. What's their first camp out? We have 600 people coming. It's like, we have 600 people coming to a camp out at the end of this month. How many of them are new? A fifth of them? If you do the fifth or sixth, that's 100 new people. Maybe it's more. We've done good on recruiting. Don't know. So we've got a great audience for what should you do on your first Cub camp out? So here are the questions, here are the, Steve, you've been on 100 of these. Peter's been on 100 of these. What are my, 4 units and 6 units in 18 years? You've seen a ton of them. What are the things you do? What are the questions? What can we answer to help them? I mean, I'll throw in the first one I learned, or 2. Don't cook for yourself. Try to figure out, at least if it's with another family, with your den, try to get the whole pack. And we do have enough time to encourage that and, get some organization for, don't cook for yourself yourself and your child. That takes too much time, effort, shopping, all these things. Figure out how to combine
And
them.
they have 10 Cub Scouts, each having individual things. It's
Right.
just simple to organize your
Right,
parents.
there's a ton of menus out there. You don't have to think hard about this. Start to combine. Now you don't have 10 parents cooking and trying to keep up with 10 or 12 or 20 or 30 kids. You don't have to divide up, but, figure out how to do the patrol method, the troop method. I know in different sized troops, sometimes the troop is only one patrol size. So it ends up kind of being the same thing. But, cooking. Don't try to do it yourself. Second thing I came up with was large garbage bags are your friend for everything. If it rains, it's a raincoat. If, you got a tent problem, it's over the top of the tent. If all your stuff gets wet, you put it in the large garbage bag and you take it home and you don't get your car soaked on the way.
Or you drive an MG convertible trash bag.
Yeah.
I think
So-
that a good one is to let your first year parents know what the Cub Masters and the group is gonna bring, that they don't have to go buy. 'Cause
Right.
one thing that I find, and even me, I'm an Eagle Scout, but even get back into it as an adult, I went and spent entirely too much money.
Yeah, see, that was
We
another one
started
I
downsizing.
don't go buy
They're
everything.
giving it away.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if it's your first one, you're not, unless you're, us Eagle Scouts or guys who are in it as a kid, we're probably committed to it. But a lot of the first years are real unsure. So again, don't go buy a fancy tent, fancy sleeping bags. We live in the South. It's usually not that cold. You go buy a $10 sleeping bag the first time. It'll last a couple of times. An extra blanket or something wrapped around it if it does get a little cold. Add a little bit on. Don't go buy all the cooking stuff. Don't go buy the mess kits. If you're associated with a troop, what can you borrow? If they're not going to the event, do they have tents? We've talked about at 205 just kind of really coming up with a common quartermaster system where we just all share the same equipment. Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go buy all these things. We've talked about, we know the reality is it costs a lot to join Scouting. So, adding on those extra things. So, right, don't go buy everything. What can you borrow? Steve, what's...
Well, following up on that, one of the things that I've seen is the ones that go out and buy stuff, go out to Walmart and buy cheap junk.
That's right.
And they have a miserable time because the tent poles break, the fly leaks, they got all, they end up with all these issues. They spend hundreds of dollars, they had a miserable experience, and they say, oh, this camping stuff is for the birds. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You don't want to go out and buy high-end stuff, but you don't want to go out and buy low-end stuff either.
Right.
So, being able to borrow stuff, the family that was in Cub Scouts, 5 years before you probably has a complete set of everything. that would be glad to lend it to you, show you how to do it.
Or you could be like me and had a trailer to have to haul your gear, and then through the years, now I'm at a backpack level.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And then providing resources, Hiker Direct. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, the scout shop.
Yeah.
I mean.
So we try to have at the scout shop, like we've had like the Dutch oven cooking and stuff. I've tried to have like a hammock event in case people want to get in the hammock. Nobody's volunteered to kind of step up, and I don't know enough about it. But the point is, we can have those kind of demos and Saturday events, just to pick a Saturday to where, okay, let's show you what all these numbers mean on your sleeping bag. You know?
Yeah, that'd be.
That's a good.
Like-
Yeah, that's
hey,
a
this is
great idea.
beginner, this is like kind of the
Right.
too much kind of stuff.
But following along what we are talking about, I talk to everybody that comes into the scout shop. The new ones are completely lost. They're lost about the program. They're lost about
What they
camping,
expect.
what to expect. And so I do what I can to try to help kind of orient them. Like I will spend some time with them. Because a lot of them come in, they think they have to do everything through the den leader. They don't know they can be the Aquila, and they can, as a Cub Scout, they can go and earn every loop out there. And then we have some unit saying, don't go get the book. And I have to tell them, you're stealing the opportunity from the parents.
The stuff is in the book.
It's in the book.
Just do
Well,
it.
it's
You
like
know,
I tell
you know,
them, it
that's-
walks them through it, and what I tell them is, that's that opportunity. New parents think they have to do everything through the den leader, and they don't know any better. And like, they don't know the whole structure. So following along the line, and I'm just gonna throw this out there, it's just an idea, it would take some time to build. What about like a knowledge base on the website?
You mean like,
Like the new-
all the training that's available from National for introduction to a pack? So, I mean, that's a great,
But like all the suggestions that
go
you
take
just
those
had,
right now.
start
absolutely.
building a
Yeah,
knowledge
The
base.
Hiker Direct thing, I didn't
Yeah.
know that until I got my Baloo, which was several years
Right.
after I was already back into it. Then I didn't even know that was a thing that you could do.
But like, I'm sitting there telling all of them, hey, you can be the Aquila. And they're not gonna, the thing is, the new parents are not gonna know what Aquila means
Right.
until we tell them, and they're not gonna Google it unless we tell them.
And that's to
Accidentally, we don't
carry
know.
that point, you don't have to make up a program on the event.
Right.
You know, the program's already there. There are some holes that you as a parent, den, pack, need to fill. You know, like, okay, you handle cooking yourself, but, you know, the other part, you don't have to handle the whole program. Some of it is done for you. Other parts of it, okay, how do we do this together? There's a book for this. Okay, let's get all the 5-year-olds together, and all the 5-year-olds are going to do this. And maybe the 5 and 6-year-olds can do something.
But it should be available to the parents, because you
Right.
have some den leaders kind of micromanaging, saying, you do need this, and I understand they're trying to cut costs, but literally, when you have a den leader come in to the store and lie to you, you know, whether it's about the uniform, or they'll say, oh no, we can get the book online. No, you can't. Not without a copyright violation. But the
Right.
book is not online. What's online are the requirements.
We need to get, that's a whole another long conversation too, because it's coming from the other side as well. We just need to be consistent in our messaging, and figure that out, and we will.
Yeah, but just a place for the parents can go, a resource and a knowledge base. for
I
the parents
agree,
go
but we don't need to
independently.
recreate it either, but they don't go to websites. I mean, you can have it in 15 different arenas, and, we have the new parent guide that, I've used for years, but we can look at modifying that a little bit too, because on the back it has the 8 Bobcat stuff, but now, for those that, the program's being re-released next April. So, this is probably the most, I'm done.
Hours?
This is like a very, I'm very impressed with the new revamped program for Cub Scouts that's coming out next year.
Great.
That's what it was. The most logical thing I think we've done in at least my last 20 years on this side of it.
That's great to hear.
Where it does link and cross rank. And there's some big changes as far as, like Bobcat is for every rank. There's requirements for every rank, so they earn it every year. And, but they're still fine tuning it, and we'll have stuff when they see fit. They have an event, a training in December.
So just a question. I haven't read the book, The Leader Guide for this event. Would it make sense?
Because there isn't one.
Okay.
That's published yet.
Great. That's even better. Does it make sense to have a small section for, if this is your first event, here are the things that you will be panicked over not knowing what to do? So I think a couple of the questions you brought up.
Well,
How do I
I just
find my
realized the
campsite?
solution that we normally would do for most events, we don't have it for this one, and I don't know why, is normally with a lot of our events, we'll have a leader's guide.
That's what we were just talking about. So
Yeah.
what happened was when we had the transition.
Okay.
It just felt, okay, would it make sense to put some, a one-page together and send it out to all the packs?
Well, and just like you have it here, when you go to the events page, you can download the pre-event medical screening form, the council refund policy, the flyer, another block with just a leader's guide that says,
Correct, but here's the challenge with the leader's guide for a new parent. Holy crap.
Right. What are the 10 questions? Like everybody talks about Avondale. What's Avondale? Wait, now, which gate do I go in? What do you mean there's 2 gates?
It's asinine. I can tell you, I've never had a leader's guide for any of my event in 20-something years. And I'm like, okay, send me an example of it. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. No, it's pages.
Nobody
right,
reads it.
how do you make something very simple that's helpful?
Right. So, all that stuff is going to be retooled over this next year as well. And so there'll be something, but, it'll be okay. We'll figure that out. Yeah, I agree. So here's the other thing with the spirit and the intent of Cub Haunted or any council event that we do. It's especially for Cub Haunted, it's a soft entry for new families. They don't have to camp out. They can just come to camp and see what it is, so it's not an unknown.
That's what we've been saying. I might even have people that are doing that.
Right. So as long as they're, if they come out at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, we're going to do flags about 8:45, start the programs at 9, and all this stuff's going to be emailed out and communicated here in the next week.
Okay.
But do that. We're going to have the 6 or 7 stations, including one of those stations is going to be some pack time. So you have 50 minutes to hang out at the campsite or do whatever you want to do, kind of reconnect with them. But the whole intent of this is for a soft entry.
Absolutely.
We 100% do not expect all 600 people to camp out the whole weekend or even a night.
Right.
There's a lot that leave after the campfire. They want to do
And that's how it was last year.
Yeah,
and it's
it's
okay.
been like that for 20 years.
Right. It's okay.
It really, you're right. It's okay. Whatever you do is fine.
They won't miss out on anything.
Show up. How can our 20 and 30 years of experience make it easier for them?
Yeah. So we'll streamline some stuff. That's the leader's guide. And I'm not trying to offend anybody that's been responsible for the leader's guide, but as a new parent to this area, it was a holy crap.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot.
It is.
And most of us know it. It's just these pieces, bro. We have to include this. We have to include. No,
we don't.
We don't. We really don't.
The only thing you get leaders.
So
Like I said, fill it up and then downsize.
We just need to simplify.
Right.
So that we can, because our mindset, Tyrone and I talked about this about a fundraiser we're doing in February. He's like, well, I want to use these terms. I said, the people that are coming to this event, odds are they don't know anything about scouting. So why are we going to use those terms for sponsorship levels that don't connect or make sense? So we just have to think, that this is one thing I've done wherever I've been is we need to think as the first time seeing it across our eyes.
View it as your audience will view it.
Because then it's a different atmosphere.
Right. I've had that with my own household because my wife was not involved in scouting at all. And I'm here going on leadership in the group maybe 4 or 5 years, something like that. I've already got one that's moved into the BSA side. And just now she kind of starting to understand. But it's because I'm talking about packs and bins and a kilo.
It's
and
confusing.
everything. And they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's a lot of jargon. We all know it from other jobs. It's all there. Let's not make it hard.
And my wife will do your hammock demo for you. With a smile on her face.
What was that, voluntold?
You know,
Yeah, she never
for,
forget.
The experience in hammock camping.
you know, Steve brought up, you know, not knowing how to use the gear.
Right.
You didn't exactly say that, but okay, what's a way, an easy way a pack can get help learning how to set up gear? That's us, and there's a scout leadership position
Den chief.
for that kind of purpose. So if you're a pack and you have a troop you're associated with, ask for a den chief or 2 or 3 or 5, however many your pack may need. That's going to be a scout with some experience who can help you with some of these things. Yeah, this is what we did as a Cub. This is how, if you borrow the troop tents, this is how to set up the tent. We do these all the time. Let's have a, let's practice. Right? How do you get good at something? You practice. I was telling somebody the other day, my rule for my personal tent is less than 10 minutes in the dark without a flashlight. The hardest thing is I got to figure out which way is the front so that all the fronts line up. So that, just because the footprint is 8 feet 6 inches by 8 feet 4 inches, so it doesn't end up like this. So figure out the front. But I bought a new tent 3 years ago. I haven't set it up on a camp out yet.
In the dark.
Because I haven't done it in the light. Like I don't know if it'll meet my 10-minute rule. I take my tent that meets the 10-minute rule, and I want a bigger tent. I take the bigger tent that meets the 10-minute rule. But yeah, practice a couple of times with your gear, whether it's yours or borrowed, or however you get it. Don't show up on Saturday morning and try to figure out how to set up your tent.
And read the directions.
In the box.
Right, because, like Mike said, program starts at 8:45. You get there, you're already lost. It took you an hour and a half to get there, you're there. Kids are going to start doing stuff. You want to be with your kids. So, you don't make it hard to set that stuff up. Try to practice a little bit. Then you've got some time, lunch, whatever. Don't volunteer. When you're the cook, ask someone else to set up your tent.
And that's another concept too with the pack time is that, if you have people coming out on the day on Saturday, have them come out like 7:30. So if they're there at 8, it's not horrible, but during that pack time, you guys can set up campsite there for the people that are coming out Saturday that are planning on spending the night. So it's just a built-in connectivity.
Yeah.
Any other things anybody's learned on any of them that
Look
makes
at the
them?
weather and prepare accordingly.
Yeah.
Look at Clinton's weather.
Don't look at Gonzaga. Don't look at Baton Rouge.
Guaranteed to have weather.
So Steve says, 100% chance.
100% chance of weather.
Yeah. It will happen. There is no chance. It is guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Like what were some of the other questions that you said?
That was
people
mainly
brought
it.
up?
It's more just getting the information. Some of the questions that were asked to me was basically what campsite, which obviously it's a little too early for that.
But how is that going to be answered? There's going to be somebody at the gate who can answer that question for you, right?
Right.
So you don't need to know the answer right now.
Correct.
Just accept, accept and understand. Someone will tell you by the time you need to know.
The other ones that are ones that kind of need some pre-planning is, like I said, if you got adults in the pack that are camping that have CPAP machines, who do we request to get a campsite? Because in the past, they would be part of your.
My phone number and email address are on that event page for all questions.
Okay, all right.
And we need to know that because we've had a lot of requests already.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to know the special need requests, but if they're going to be ongoing campers, they might want to look at having.
And the next one leads up to that as well. There's 1 or 2 that are mobile challenged.
Bring a couple of extension cords if you're a CPAP user, just to help out. Something. Help yourself help everybody be prepared. Bring a couple of long extension cords.
I'm gonna reach to Nick on this one. How many registered OA youth do we have for this event?
I do not know that off the top of my head, but I can get that. But I do know that there's a group who will be camping and a group who's just coming up for the day. Because I know there's some high school event going on that same weekend.
Yeah,
So-
very, very common.
Yeah, so I know there's a couple guys who are like, hey, we're gonna come up Saturday afternoon and we're gonna leave after the trails are closed. But then we also have a group, including myself, who will be camping the weekend.
So you don't like any of that Friday night school stuff?
Uh,
No man, no football?
well, I'm gonna go up there Saturday morning.
Okay.
Well, my reason for inquiry is these new packs that we have and these first-time campers, would the OA be available to help them set up?
But one of the ideas to build up to is to have a valet group. You know, here's the challenge. If we have too many, you know, Scout BSA and OA volunteers, idle hands and board, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, so
Been there, done that.
right, you know, you get that saturation point. And so that's where realistically we need 40 for the weekend. But I'd like to have valet service, because that was something I started at Edgewood too, is have our OA and have some kids from troops that are there, that are serving on staff, be there to greet people and walk them to their campsite.
Yeah.
We had that when we went to summer
Awesome.
camp.
How about
And
assigning
those-
someone
so-
to each
yeah.
campsite? So kind of like a liaison, like you would have.
So like summer camp does,
Yeah.
you have a camp staffer
Yeah.
who
That way-
is assigned to you for the week.
If
You know,
y'all,
the
if y'all have the
kids
access.
get real connected. to
Yeah,
their
yeah, for sure.
campsite and leader also, and then when they see them on stage
Yeah.
doing skits and all that, it
But you
just,
need a couple at each campsite, because, you know, if Jimmy is taking pack 1, 2, 3 out there and someone else from pack 1, 2, 3 shows up, then.
Yeah, you gotta do shuttles, but that's a great idea of, maybe it's not a this time event, but next year, that's something we shoot for. Hey, that's where we get our 100 youth volunteers. Okay, there's gonna be 3 per campsite. You know, we got 20 campsites, so there, you know, there's a use for 60. We don't need you the whole day. If you can come out, you know, 7 until noon, we'll feed you lunch, go home, enjoy. That's a great idea.
And I know there's also troops who are planning on being up there too. Like I heard 103 is going to be up there for the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
sure there's several guys from our group.
So we'll definitely, we can,
Yeah.
yeah, y'all be there for the weekend too. So there'll definitely be other scouts too who will be available to help with certain things. So maybe like doing like setting up some sort of like service corps. Everybody dumped into one pile, and we have a meeting like first thing Saturday morning.
Friday
and,
night.
like, Friday night,
we're having
we
the
can't.
training and science.
So whenever we just have a meeting, if everybody wants to help, and just be like, hey, this needs to get done, this needs to get done, this needs to get done, and then work from
And
there.
Steve, you'll remember this. You know, a few years ago, the fall camp out
Maybe it's not on the calendar.
had a lot of Cubs that asked from troops was, hey, can you come do events on Saturday morning? That's all we're asking for. Saturday morning, 3 hours. The rest of the camp out is yours. And we had scouts who loved that camp out because some loved doing the 3 hours of service, some didn't love it nearly as much. But we could call it service, it was good. And then basically it's, look, we have no agenda on this camp out. We're just here to have fun. If we want to go fishing, if we want to go hiking, if we want to do nothing, if we want to swing in a hammock all afternoon, no problem. You know, a lot of these campouts we do on a BSA basis, you know, we got an agenda, we got to hit all of these things, we're doing all this, and a lot of the kids like, you know, one a year where it's like, yeah, no, we're just not doing nothing. We're just gonna enjoy being outside. And so, you know, I think that could work to bring back that whole idea. You know, we have an ask of troops for, look, we just want the morning, or the afternoon, or whatever it is.
But right now, we're good, we're capped off, but again, we'll reassess after Tuesday to see where we're at on registration, and then we'll take additional staff help. because we don't want there to be.
Yeah, I mean, the thing would be to send out an email at all points, that said like we need help.
Red has been, to the ones that had already registered. I mean, we have that manpower between that and OA, but we need to get the OA numbers tied down. I think they had 7 as of last week, that she said they had confirmed. So we need to finalize what that is.
We gotta get more.
We don't, I mean, we don't.
Sounds like
We're at a saturation point already.
Yeah.
Because then, I'm all for having, us figuring that pain out, but I also don't want it to ruin the Cub event.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
Because when the troops are bored, if they're not doing something on the other, on
And
Avenue,
that was the way it was handled most of the time, is like, yeah, that's,
You depart to
you're
camp.
over there.
Right.
You can be at, camp is 1,700 acres, there's lots of other places to be, you can't be here.
Right. So we can figure that stuff out.
Yeah, it's just, ideas that had some success in the past, maybe they can again. Ways we can help make, a first Cub camp out a successful event.
Right.
Some of it's attitude. Yeah, it may suck the first time. I had he was our troop chaplain for years. His story was either the first 11 or 12 campouts they went on, it rained. Every single time.
Folks, you couldn't camp out in the morning.
I've been on like that.
And I mean, but
That's all it was in Florida. I set up a tent to drive.
it will happen. Garbage bags are your friend. What time is it?
7:45.
When did we start?
7:15.
7? Okay. Man, it's only been half an hour. Any other thoughts on new Cub leaders on your first camp out?
The average camper, when they hit the woods, doesn't know how to eat, doesn't know how to sleep, doesn't know how to go to the bathroom. They are literally babes in the woods, and that's not just Cub Scouts, that's anybody that is, it's new in that environment. And so we have to have a mindset that says, what is second nature to me is not going to be second nature to these folks coming in. So that's one point. The second point is there are some very critical safety things: fire, water, lakes, rivers, things like that. Wearing shoes, fireworks, firearms, things like that. There's some very critical safety things that every new scout family needs to know. You can't take your kids swimming. You can't do this. There's some things that people could die. Alcohol, another big one, big one. And so those are also things you got to make sure that within the first hour that they're got their feet on camp is like, you need to stay with a buddy. You need to make sure you keep your shoes on. You can't be setting the woods on fire. And there's about 6 or 7 really important things.
No sharp items.
Yeah, really important things.
So how is that a quick list that we could put in our email?
They don't read it.
No.
I'm telling you, we simplified it.
Look, I totally get the thing. I've worked with enough people. My email has one topic.
Right.
Now, there are about 5% of the people I can write a 10-page email, and I'm one of those. You can write a 10-page email. I'll read every word of it. Okay, got that? Oh, page 37, I don't understand this. One item. So, what is the one safety thing? Don't be stupid. Is that the one safety message?
That covers it.
For this one, it's going to be no fires.
Right. Yeah.
No fires.
The fire ban right now is still in effect. In fact, they were fighting a fire right down the road from camp the day before yesterday. So
That's going to be out. big,
Yes.
big.
Yes, ma'am.
Why wouldn't the troops or packs or whoever, they be responsible for getting that message to the parents? Like actually telling them, not sending out a paper, but at a meeting.
How can we help that? Just
Well,
that's.
make the paper for the leaders,
maybe
and
a
then those
one-page
leaders
flyer.
have to.
That's what I was saying, that troop
Yeah.
leaders guide, if you train, like I'm training the Cub Master and the adult leaders to look at that. That is their guide, that is to help them, that you guys put the effort into doing that, you need to utilize it. And so I'm teaching this new pack to do that, but you know, if it's not there,
Yeah,
Well, even if
we're gonna
it's
have
just
something,
the-
but we can't, that,
no, I understand. I'm just giving feedback.
I understand.
Maybe,
Just see,
Even if it's just the rules, like these are the hazards, these are
And they
the
will-
things that you have to follow, not necessarily a whole book of a guide of everything about camping, just these are the rules.
yeah, maybe,
Make sure you go
something
over
handed out
these.
when you get there.
It's with the
as a
map.
leader.
Steve.
Yeah,
we put it on the back of the map.
Okay, awesome.
Just to make sure.
Great idea.
But again, I mean,
Here's where I'm going. Oh, wait, there's something on the other side.
and you highlight it, you do, you know, I mean, it just, that's what reality is, but that's where we have to have the reinforcement.
Right, and that's, I think, what
But
you
the-
guys have covered the primary, or
Right.
maybe we're the primary.
But the big,
Repeat.
the big issue, or the big overall theme is, I don't want us to be a barrier to adventure. So we have to be mindful and, you know, and how we do this, because if we hit a 32-page rule
Yeah, of course.
session before they come, then they don't even want to come. But, you know, there are, I mean, gosh, you dumb it down to 5 basics, you know, no, they still don't even pay attention to no alcohol.
Make it fun, keep it safe.
Right. So, you know, we just have to have this educational minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that comes with all leaders and scouts' responsibilities, educating the parents while you're there,
Well-
keeping everybody's
And
eyes
also, they
open.
get trained.
When we first got into the pack, coming in brand new, we had a lot of people not step up. I know I was nervous when I was SU Tiger Den leader because I didn't know what I was doing, but I have the personality, I'm gonna go find out. We have some that step back.
That's right.
So we need some resources for those to get them comfortable where those step up. But we came from the people that were in Webelos were training
Right.
everybody that came in. So by the time we got there, we were passing that knowledge base. I'd like to see the packs kind of self-sustain like that. But
As
because
long
of
as
a
the
lot of
information-
disruption,
As long as the
they don't have
information
that
is consistent,
resource.
correct.
Yeah.
The first step is to eliminate their excuses.
You know.
It's really what it boils down to.
But that's where, you know, we're the experienced people, we're more experienced than the Webelow people now. How do we help this process? Those are the questions. How can we help
Well, I
them?
think it's everybody being concise and consistent, as, hey, this is the message,
And
there-
we're all ambassadors, right? We all can say, look, it's training for this, you don't have to figure this out.
Right.
It's okay, yeah, they'll give you some information when you get there. Read both sides of the paper, it's important. Flip it over. You know, I know you don't want to, I know you're driving, I know the kids have been screaming for 90 minutes at you trying to get there at, 5 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah, number one, you gotta remember, they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Number two, make sure that they have the tools available to them so that you eliminate the excuses, because when it comes to new adults, as I was one of them, you
We
know,
all
you
are.
get intimidated, you say, well, I don't know anything about scouts, and then I was told, oh, well, you know, there's all these guides online. Guess what? Did all the guides online, and it armed me with what I need. So the tools are there, it's just making sure that they're aware of it. And that's as us as upper leaders
And us encouraging them.
encourage them, let them know that. Trust but verify. Tell them this is there, but verify. A couple weeks later, come to them, hey, did you get a chance to look at that?
When
You
some
know
people
this.
are not gonna have the patience to read all of that.
Right, exactly.
So how do we get to those people?
Well, you
Or-
can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Yeah.
And some of them drown themselves because they're not smart enough.
But you can use the buddy system.
Yeah, you can.
And you can match up a new family with a more experienced family.
Right.
And say, if you have any questions, because they may not be able to get to the den leader every time, they may, you know, but this family's been to a couple of these things, and they can help you out.
You know, notice they have 3
Here's your
kids
budget.
of different age, they're not
Create like a
triplets.
little Big Brother program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you can
Right.
set up your campsites
At the
that way.
campsite.
Instead of everybody being the same age group, 'cause when I first started, that's what they did, they put all the newbies
Yeah.
way over there, and then they have different age
Well, that's
groups
just
together.
mean, right?
Right?
A lot of this.
Good luck.
A lot of this we've been talking about, the leader's guide, the rules and all that, it just comes down to your pack leadership in this case. They have to send out a good email, hey, here's a suggested packing list. Here, if it's the Halloween camp, here's the program that we're expecting. If it's not the holiday camp, not the Halloween camp, here's the things we're gonna do. You might consider bringing this. You're free to leave whenever you want. Hey, we're gonna be cooking this for supper. We're gonna try to cook a couple of things together. It's all about the pack leadership actually being leaders and communicating. All of the leaders' guides and all on there, and kind of what I said earlier, was more for the leaders to have an idea. I know the adults didn't read it.
Right.
And maybe most of the leaders didn't either. I'm not arguing that.
But you only need
But it's
one.
there.
Right.
It's there for them to look at. And so, even if they never look at it, it was there.
It
And
was
you
Give
there.
them an
eliminate
opportunity,
these
and those
If they
leaders-
had a question,
and those leaders that are actually competent in their entire life, in all aspects of their life, will look at that and boil it down and give it to their people so that they're successful too.
yeah.
You know, it's not gonna matter if you put it out there. You have to, I always call them the gatekeepers. If we can't get past the gatekeepers, our information is never gonna go to the
Right.
parents anyway.
Some form of the information has to be there. We can't force them to use it.
Well, we're sending out good to all the registered participants.
That's perfect.
You can run the gatekeeper that
I think
way.
that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
exactly. And 90% of them probably won't read it.
But
Okay,
it's
but
important.
And then
10% is probably enough. So
All you need is one.
we just
One per
just
group.
don't know who the 10% are, so we gotta get everybody.
Right, but no, we'll simplify.
Well, the good thing too is, since it's gonna go out to all the registered people, then you can say, oh yeah, you know, that question actually was answered on the thing, page 3, for the one person that does read it. You know, then they can refer to something, so.
Well, I think this was a great discussion, everybody, and like I said, thank you for coming. It's always great to see y'all's faces in person. Thank you for taking your time out on a Tuesday night. You know, I know you got other things that you could be doing. And hope everything is clarified, and if you have any questions, you know who to reach. You can reach me, you can reach Tyrone, you can reach Keith, Mr. Beard. Just if you see something, say something. You need something, just let us know. We don't know what you need unless you tell us. So,
We're all eager to talk about scouting for many hours per day.
yep. So this will conclude our meeting, and y'all have a great month, and hope to see you at some events, and look forward to chatting with you more.
I'm not really to reach out, I want to go there and just setting out. Make sure they're set up, that they're safe. I need to be on
Parents being
this list and everything, to know that-
I saw their Facebook post.
Well,
I saw, as long as you got them all.
Yeah.